Number 24, perform the following rotations about the origin and determine the algebraic representation. So for our first one here, we have rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise. What is the rule? So for this, I'm going to go ahead and grab some patty paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trace over my x and y axis. So this is my y and this is my x. Now that I have traced my axis, I'm going to go ahead and copy down my points. So here I have point A, I have B, C, and D. Okay, so since I'm going 90 degrees counterclockwise, that means I'm turning this one time, and I'm turning this to the left. So here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go ahead and plot this. So for A here, I now have this point at -4, so that's A prime. B prime, I have at -4, -1. C prime, I now have at -3, -1. And D prime, I now have at -1, -4. I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots. Now when I put my patty paper over my picture again, it should still be creating the same image as the original. So now here I have this at my 90-degree turn. So to find my rule, I'm going to go ahead and pick a point. So remember, we don't want to use doubles, so we should avoid using A because that's -4, 4, and we can't really tell what changed and what stayed the same. So I'm going to go ahead and use letter C. And I want to see the effect a 90-degree rotation counterclockwise would have on it. So for C, I go from -1, 3, and I'm rotating this to -3, -1. Now, I know I always start off with X and Y, and based on the hand trick that we learned that Y comes before X. Now, that's right here. So if I have a 0-degree turn, I have X before Y. A 90-degree turn, Y comes before X. If I have a 180-degree turn, X comes before Y. And then a 270 is Y before X. So here, I know that Y comes before X now. Now, this isn't my final answer. I still need to see what stayed the same and what changed. So if I went from a -1 to a -1, that means my X value stays the same, but my Y value, I went from a 3 to a -3. So that there shows change. And we represent change with a negative. So here my rule is going to be A. Okay, so next I have we're now rotating this 180 degrees counterclockwise. So I'm going to go ahead and use a different color. I'm going to go ahead and use red. So I'm going to get my patty paper. Now that I'm turning this 2 times, that means I am turning this, since I am rotating 180 times, that means I am now turning this 2 times. So this is 2 turns. So starting off in my original, I'm going to rotate this once. So that's 1 turn. And now twice. This is a 180-degree turn. So here for C, I have this at 1, -3, so that's C prime. Next, I have D at 4, -1. Then I have A at 4, -4. And I have B at 1, -4. And again, I'm just going to keep using C for to see how this rotation affects my original point. Now, my original C was -1, 3, and after that 180-degree rotation, it is now at 1, -3. I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots very quickly. Now, remember, we always start off with X and Y here, and this transforms too. So again, going back to our rotation notes, we see that with 180-degree rotation, X comes before Y. So with 0 degrees, X comes before Y, and with 180 degrees, X comes before Y. So again, here, X, Y, and now I need to see what stayed the same and what changed. So here I went from a -1 to a +1, so that changed. And then I went from a 3 to a -3, and that also changed. So here, letter C is going to be our answer. Okay. Then lastly, we also have a 270-degree rotation, and I'm going to go ahead and grab another color, and I'm going to do this in purple. So with the 270-degree rotation, again, that means that I am turning this 3 times. So this is 3 turns. So starting from my original point, I'm going to turn this once, twice, and a 3rd time. So this is where our image should be after 3 turns, or a 270-degree rotation. So first I have A at 4, 4. Then I have B at 4, 1. I have C at 3, 1. And I have D at 1, 4. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my dots. And now let's see how this has affected, how the 270-degree rotation has affected our original image. So here again, I'm starting off with C at -1, 3. After this has been transformed, C is now at 3, 1. So again, we always start off with X and Y. Now, here this tells me that after a 270-degree rotation, Y now comes before X. So here I have Y coming before X. And again, all that means is that I'm switching my numbers here. So here I went from a -1 to a +1. That changed, so my X gets the negative. Now I'm also looking at my 3. So I went from a +3 and it stayed a +3. So that means that stays the same and I'm going to leave it alone. So here, the one that matches this is going to be answer choice B. Okay, and then lastly, we have 360 degrees, which is 4 turns. So, so this is 4 turns. So what this means is I'm going to grab my patty paper, and I'm going to turn this 4 times. So that's once, that's twice, that's 3rd, and there's 4 times. Now you see I'm in my original image. So if I'm in the same spot as from where I started off, that means nothing changed and everything stayed the same. So that means that D is going to be my answer here.